Biden began the meeting on a friendly note. He waved to his Chinese counterpart, and Xi Jinping waved back. The U.S. president moved quickly to establish rapport. He reminded President Xi of the previous engagements they've had. Look at this.
Next time, I hope we get to do it face-to-face like we used to when we travel through China.
Xi Jinping reciprocated. In his opening remarks, he called Biden his old friend, and he said that he's willing to work with him.
China and the US have mutual respect, peacefully coexist, and have win-win cooperation. I am willing to work with President Biden to form a consensus and positively engage to lead China-US relations positive forward development. This is needed for the benefit of the people of both countries and is also the expectation of the international community.
With those statements, it may seem like these leaders got off on the right foot, but the bonhomie was just for the cameras. As soon as the press left, the swords were out. The differences were out in the open. The biggest flashpoint, of course, was Taiwan. Reports say both leaders spent a lot of time discussing Taiwan. Strong words were exchanged. Biden said the U.S. strongly opposes efforts to undermine peace and stability. Xi Jinping warned Biden against backing Taiwan's independence. He said such moves are extremely dangerous, just like playing with fire. Whoever plays with fire will get burnt. This is the Chinese president speaking to the American president. You'll get burnt, he says. Then the conversation shifted to trade. Biden highlighted the quote-unquote need to protect American workers and industries from China's unfair trade and economic practices. Xi Jinping snapped back again. He told Biden that the U.S. needs to stop abusing the concept of national security to oppress Chinese companies. The next issue was human rights. Biden brought up China's human rights violations in Xinjiang, Hong Kong, and Tibet. What was Xi Jinping's response? Once again, a sharp rebuke. He said, "We do not approve of interfering in other countries' internal affairs through human rights issues." And that's pretty much how the entire engagement played out. Each side had come prepared with a list of grievances. When one leader finished, the other leader started complaining. That's how they went. The Americans say they expected this, which is why they downgraded the engagement. The U.S., like we told you yesterday, chose to call it a meeting and not a summit. It was just a meeting, an important one nonetheless. Since taking office, Joe Biden has been wanting to sit down with Xi Jinping. So this meeting happened at his request. The question is, why did Biden ask for it when there was no hope for an agreement on anything? Washington believes there is a real threat of an armed conflict with China. Tensions have been escalating every day. So Joe Biden made an outreach and told Xi Jinping himself that the United States does not want a war with China.
As I've said before, it seems to me our responsibility as leaders of China and the United States is to ensure that the competition between our countries does not veer into conflict, whether intended or unintended. Just simple, straightforward competition.
Just simple, straightforward competition. That's Biden's China policy. But is it working? Joe Biden has been in office for almost a year now. How has he fared against China? So far, he's failed to tackle the China challenge. He has failed to hold China to account on the pandemic. In the month of August this year, the U.S. president said that China is withholding critical information. So he ordered an investigation. It found nothing new. What has Biden managed to uncover about the Wuhan virus? Nothing. What about Taiwan? The U.S. has not been able to offer an effective deterrence. In fact, on Monday, just hours before the Xi-Biden meeting, the Chinese invaded Taiwan's airspace yet again. The PLA sent 6 aircraft into Taiwan's air defense zone. That's how brazen China has become. On Xinjiang, the United States demanded access from Beijing. Back in October, the U.S. and 42 other United Nations member states issued a statement. They wanted independent observers to visit Xinjiang. Beijing refused. In fact, when Xinjiang came up for discussion today, Biden failed to effectively press Xi Jinping for answers. He did not bring up the growing protests against the 2022 Winter Olympics. Remember, China is hosting the event, the 2022 Winter Olympics. Human rights groups have been calling for a boycott of the Games in China. But the American president did not think this issue was worth discussing. The pandemic, Taiwan, human rights. These are the issues where China is on the back foot. By failing to hold China to account on these three fronts, Biden is only appearing weak. He's allowing the Communist Party to get away with its sins. Joe Biden says the United States is locked in an intense competition with China. Well, if it is on the losing side right now.